For many years now, my job has been driving city transit buses. I want to talk about the mirror changes that have been happening over the last couple of years. I'm going to talk only about the mirrors on the left side, the driver's side, as the ones on the right side are up high and far away, and there's never any issues with them. They're fine. This is an old picture and shows roughly what my view is like from the driver's seat. I will note that this is a wide angle lens, so the image is a little bit distorted, but the good thing is you can see more in all directions. Also, I believe it's a few inches higher than where my eyes would normally be, but aside from that, it's a pretty close approximation of what my eyes would see when driving. Notice that the visibility is all around excellent. For most of my years driving, left side mirrors have been mounted down low like in this image. The fixture is typically quite small, though not always, and really not in the way at all. When I say small, since it's real close to the driver, it does not need to be large. The larger a mirror is, the more of the view it could be obstructing potentially. Most of the buses that the city uses are made by Gillig, and I like most things about them. In the past, I've also driven buses from Eldorado National, New Flyer, and Nova Bus. All of them had the left mirrors down low, but in recent years, our newer Gillig buses have started arriving with the left mirrors mounted up high. I spoke to leadership, and it seems that this is not something we have requested, which then leads me to wonder why Gillig is doing it like this now. This is a much worse position for the mirrors as they block a lot more of your view. It's not an issue looking forward, but when I need to look left at all, it's much worse than the low mirrors. If I turn 60 degrees to the left, the mirror is now directly in the middle of my view and blocks tons of relevant information. This is particularly obvious at intersections. The image on the screen right now is not really focused on the left mirrors, so it doesn't get my point across very well, but stick around because in a couple of minutes I will try to demonstrate this in a better way. Okay, so it gets crazier from here. This past year or so, the agency has been experimenting with digital mirrors on a few of the buses. So, like most vehicles, the widest part of the bus is at the mirrors, and so the vast majority of accidents are really minor ones where the bus's mirror makes contact with something. In an attempt to reduce these occurrences, the buses use small cameras in place of the mirrors, which barely stick out at all, and inside the bus is a screen which shows you what the camera sees. The function of the digital mirrors themselves is perfectly fine. It's at least as good as normal mirrors, if not better in some ways. The issue is with how the screens are mounted. Again, the right-sided ones are perfectly fine since they're up high and far away, but the left one is mounted up high and close, and a lot closer to the center than normal mirrors. The normal mirrors are left of the A-pillar, but the screen sits to the right of it. Hopefully you can see that this is worse than the high-mounted standard mirror. While it's nice and even important to be able to see behind and beside a vehicle, how much of your front vision is it okay to obstruct to accomplish that? I would say basically none. It's more important to see what's in front of you. Regulations certainly wouldn't let you hang gigantic fuzzy dice in front of your face, and this is almost as unacceptable if you ask me. Also, it seems like there's been one bus that has both the high-mounted mirror and the screens for some reason, and as you can imagine, it's very hard to see out of. After one day with that bus, I said that I'm going to refuse it for safety reasons if I ever get it again, and I've had to do that once. A coach change isn't as bad as it may sound. Basically, a spare driver catches up to me during the route with a different bus, and we quickly swap them. The digital screen should be small and mounted as low as possible, kind of like this. I made the following diagrams to show the driver's blooming cone of view and how on the low mirrors it doesn't block much. What could be in that blind spot? A dog? A small cone? A manhole? The thing is, you'd likely see any of those things as you drove up. But on the high mirrors, it just blocks a big part of your vision that you need. Not just downward, but toward the horizon. This is especially clear when looking around at intersections or just turning left. You need to see where you're about to drive the bus, but that's exactly what is blocked. And yeah, you rock back and forth in your seat to see around the blind spots, and in fact, that's something bus drivers always do, since the A-pillars are always there, but the high mirror covers up way more. Okay, now I'm going to show the same short clip several times to try and illustrate the issues and the differences in mirror setups. Sorry it's not the highest quality video, it's borrowed from another YouTube channel. This is footage of a bus simulator video game. As you will see, the view looks a bit different since it's a different make of bus with a different seating position, but overall I think it helps make my point. It's a lot better than some of the other video games I was considering using for this demonstration, but I do feel like I'm 4 feet tall from the perspective compared to how I actually sit in the driver's seat. Also, there's elements on the screen that I can't change, like the mini-map and the mirrors, These mirrors, by the way, that are featured here, they're just arbitrarily in the top right and left of the screen and not physically part of the in-game bus. Nevertheless, I will use a black box to represent the actual mirrors or digital screen that I'm talking about. I'll start from the best setup and end on the most problematic. Here the black box represents the standard low-mounted mirror. And here the black box is the high-mounted mirror. And now here is the dreaded digital screen that's too large, it's mounted too high, too close, and too centered. And this is what a good digital screen should look like. I don't even have to play this out since you can see that it barely blocks anything. And that's all I've got. I'm not sure how something like this makes it through testing without immediately being noted as problematic, unless there's something I'm completely not understanding.